Hi friends, I wanted to talk more about behaviors, So a lot of parents ask me, in fact, most of the emails that when I wake up in the morning, I have a full inbox full of, my child has this behavior, my child has that behavior, what do I do? My child is suddenly screaming and shouting, what do I do? My child has become very hyperactive, what do I do? So I get a lot of those kinds of emails, and most of the times I really don't know what to answer, and I really want to help also. Reason I don't know because I have no idea what is it that is precipitating the behavior, and I wanted to talk about this today because if you ever see that there is a sudden change in the behavior of your child, it could be any behavior. It could be, say, sudden shouting or screaming or flapping or walking on toes or rocking, any behavior that usually I get. So if you see any of that kind of a behavior that has increased in your child, it's a good idea to understand the ABC of the behavior. Most of the times, if you notice any kind of a concern, and if you want to write an email to me, for those parents who are already taking therapy with me, I want you to take care that you give me the ABC of the behavior. Now, what do I mean by A? A is the antecedent. It means what happened just before the behavior. B is the behavior. So you have to be very specific about which is the behavior that you're talking about. If you say, oh, he's flapping and he is shouting and he is walking on toes, and so I get like 10 behaviors. I want to work on one behavior at a time, usually. So I would want to know what is the behavior that you're talking about. And that behavior, I want the frequency, which means how often did that happen in a day. So suppose I'll take an example of hitting. Okay, so if the child comes and hits me, and he was not hitting me earlier, so if the child comes and hits me, then I would want to know, so behavior would be hitting. Okay, so I would want to know the frequency. How many times in a day is the child hitting you? So what I would put is, I'll put the date, say whatever the date is today, and in front of the date I would put the antecedent. So I'll make these four columns: the date, the antecedent, the behavior, the consequence. Okay, if the behavior is hitting, what happened just before hitting? I would mention this. I told my child he should switch off the TV. I'm just giving you a made up example. And then the behavior is a hitting behavior. Then what is the consequence? Which means, what did you do because he did hit you? Some parents tell me, I hit the child back. That is one of the consequence. Some say, we don't want to get very strict with our child, so we explain to the child. So you put that there. Sometimes the same parent gives different responses. So sometimes that same parent may either hit in the morning if the child hits you, because they say, even I was frustrated. I can't take this hitting every time again and again. So then they hit back. Okay. And in the morning, it is more calmer. They're more relaxed. They're like, it's okay, I'll explain and all of it, But by evening, they lose their cool. So what I'm trying to convey is, that's why the C is important, because every time, what is the response by you or whosoever reacted to the child? So that's important. So if you're working with me, and if you're reporting any behavior for your child, I want to know these three things. Okay, then I was talking about the frequency of the behavior. So on that date, this was the first time that happened. Then that same date, the second time, he did hitting again. Now this time he did hitting because maybe he didn't get the food that he wanted to eat. So I would say behavior, hitting. Antecedent, what happened just before behavior? He did not want to eat the food that I prepared, and I forced him, so he hit me. Then what is the consequence? What did you do about it? So that way I get to know that in a day, how many times has that behavior happened. Okay, so I get the frequency of the behavior. I need to know the duration. Did he go on hitting, or did he just hit you once? That's a frequency again. So did he hit you in that one episode? Did he hit you once, twice, thrice, or did he go on hitting? How long did this last for? So that's the intensity. Did it continue for like half an hour, or it was just for a 1 minute or 10 seconds or whatever? So if you can give that. So I need antecedent, behavior, consequence. I need the date. I need to know in that date on that date, how many times did that happen, how long did it last for, how intense was it. Okay, and then, so that is day one. That same way I want to know the pattern for 3 to 4 days, preferably a week. So this is how I would want you to send me an email if you want me to help you out with how to understand the pattern of behavior. Okay, because most of the times we believe that everything is sensory. Oh, he's walking on toes, it's sensory. Walking on toes could be because of anxiety, could be because you're taking the child to a new place, it could be because there's someone new who's come over to stay in the bedroom where your child is sleeping. So there can be so many reasons. It's the sensory behaviors are coming up maybe because of the stress that the child is going through. So what are we doing about the stress? That's also important. It's not just about exercising and proprioceptive input and vestibular input. That is important too, but that alone is not important. We need to see it as a combined thing. How do you respond, the consequence, how are you responding every time to the behavior is also important, because that is really helping the child to make some conclusion about himself. When he gets hit back, he feels, oh God, I get hit back. Sometimes when he's told things with a lot of love and all, he feels, oh, they're sometimes lovable. They sometimes love me, they sometimes shout at me. So child feels, oh God, with the same behavior, I'm getting different responses from my parent or caregiver. I don't know what to respond. He's not vocalizing, but there's a lot of learning and saving that's happening in his system also. So coming back to ABC, the date, how many times did that happen? You send it to me for 7 days, and then we talk about that behavior. But for parents who are not coming to me, you make that table and it'll still help you to understand the pattern. You go to your therapist, show that, and the therapist will help you to identify the pattern. What is it that needs to be changed? Most of the times I believe we need to work on antecedent. That's a better way to work on. Sometimes we have to work on the consequence also. But once we have this complete data, it becomes easier to work on any behavior. Now, there are a few things which are called as precipitating factors. Okay. Now, what are these precipitating factors? Sometimes, the child has not slept well. That is a precipitating factor because of which his hitting may increase or his hyperactivity may increase. What is the other precipitating factor? He's not had enough physical activity in the day. He's just at home getting bored. That can be one of the precipitating factor. He's not passed motions. He's constipated. That could be one of the precipitating factor. So it's important that whenever you send me an email, take care that you're mentioning the ABC, you're mentioning the date, in a day, how many times did that happen, and then you send me a data of this sort for 3 to 4 days, preferably for a week. So once I get that, then we talk about the behavior. It will really help. And most of the times, believe me, once you start compiling data, parents tell me, once I've compiled, I think I know why my child is doing what he's doing. So you find the answers yourself, so it really helps. But if I just get an email, my child is hitting, what do? I wouldn't know. And even if I give you an answer, it will be like trial and error, and I don't want to do trial and error with your kids. Let's have the data. Let's be very precise. Let's understand what is triggering the behavior. Sometimes it could be just medical causes. The child is not well, and that's why he's doing these behaviors. Sometimes it's like, he's got cold. There could be sometimes many kids that I know of who have a history of seizures. The behaviors happen just before the seizure. So there are so many reasons. I wish it was so simple, okay, hitting, okay, do this. Toe walking, okay, do that. No, there could be like a lot of reasons. So I hope this little thing about how to document the data and how to understand, another very important thing is to take care that we work on only one behavior at a time. We do not work on toe walking and this and that and this and that. So we don't do just that. So once you collate this, then you email me, put it in an Excel sheet. The sheet's name would have the dates, and put them as dates. Email me, then we'll talk about the behavior and we'll correlate it with what exercises are we doing. Are we doing therapeutic listening with the child, or there are some changes that happened in the child, or my pattern, my way of responding with the child has changed. So we will work out on all of those things and will help me to help you better. I hope this was helpful. And again, I want to talk about my book. Read my book. It'll really help you to understand a lot on how to work on your behaviors, how to identify and work on the antecedent, how to manage behaviors in your kids, and how to make that parenting experience enriching, how to ensure that the child has positive, great, good memories of growing up. So, that's about it for today, and thank you for watching.